Welcome to Games Overboard. I'm PJ.
I'm Shanna.
I'm David.
Hey, it's Carrie.
I'm Tom.
Woo-hoo! I'm back. Back. We're back.
I feel it.
This is exciting. I'm looking forward to this episode.
Yay!
Yeah.
That music just keeps going, doesn't it?
It does. You say this all the time.
I know. It needs to be done.
Yeah.
You just turn that off. That's better.
It's the end of the song. Anyway.
Was it? Sure it was. Anyway.
Okay.
Mine's shorter for Well House Exorcism, just saying. It's the right way.
Yeah. I actually have a longer version that, I don't know if I do anymore because my iPad got wiped. But I had a longer version.
Why are we here, PJ?
We are here to talk about just our top 5 games that remind us of why we love gaming. Because every so often you kind of get into a lull where it's like, I just don't want to do this, you know? And then but then you start playing and it's like, oh, right. I remember why. This is amazing. I remember why this is so great.
Let's play another.
We need to do something else now.
Oh, I just looked at the wall and I gotta change one of mine already.
It's all good. You can
That
throw one
happened to
in
me
your,
too as soon as I came down.
You come in all these, I forgot about that board game and all these other 20 billion.
First, I was thinking we could go through, if we had any, I just said kind of, my reasoning behind how I picked my games. If anyone wants to go around and talk about, how they picked their games, and then any runners-up that you had, too.
Okay.
So for me, I picked, kind of like the title suggests, games that when you're not really feeling it, it's I don't really want to do a board game or whatever, but then someone talks you into playing and it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, I remember why games are so good and everything. Trying to think of stuff that you wouldn't pick and things that just reignite that flame for me of I want to play more games. I played this one, now I want to play something else and all that.
So for me, I chose games because I like playing board games, but I'm not a lover of board games. I just do it because he makes me.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
There are ones that I like. So I chose ones that for me because I hate board games that you have to spend 5 years setting up. That just makes me so stressed because there's playability, but there's also I have a life. So I want a quick setup. So I chose ones that I am not afraid to set up, or if someone sets it up for me, I'm very happy to play because they make me laugh. Because I'm a person who wants to play a game that I can talk, play with the kids or the adults around and just joke and whatever.
Okay. Yeah. I like that.
I'm not the official gamer like you and David and Tom and Carrie. I'm just here for fun.
We're all here for fun.
That's right.
I don't know.
Someone's just here for more fun.
So what did you choose? What was your basis, David?
I picked games that have very memorable moments.
Oh.
And I also picked games that I just want to keep playing a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of replayability.
I'm interested because of how this, before, we get into Carrie and Tom, because David, we've only really hung out twice, 3 times if you count Helix, where during the fundraiser. So I don't know your gaming preferences that well. And Carrie and Tom, while I have an idea of your gaming preferences, we've mostly played games that have been here, not so much your games. So I'm not super familiar with what you guys are going to say either.
Except
so
last week you played mine.
Yes. Dominion.
I
yeah.
feel like you also throw us some curveballs too, because I when I imagine you as a board game player, both of you, it's let's get out all of the Gloomhaven and let's just play that dang thing for 24 hours straight. But then you're also oh yeah, I love playing Red Dragon, and look at Pookie, he's so cute. Yeah. And I've played this really simple, straightforward board game, so I feel like you're kind of like us.
Right.
Yeah. So speaking of,
hi. Yes. So I picked games that, like you said, playability. And then it's just fun. Some of my games on my list are just fun. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I would call them party games, but they're just fun. Like you said, you could shoot the breeze with the person you're playing with, and you just want to keep on playing and playing again and playing again and playing again. But like you, I'm a mom. I have a life. I need to cook. I have a boy who's growing.
And we're also like, you have to feed people. Are you hungry? How about now?
But once we sit down and play, these are the games that I'm like, yeah, why don't we do this every weekend? Oh, yeah, I have to go grocery shopping.
Responsibilities.
Instacart, thank you for making shopping easy. How about you, Tom?
I picked games that essentially excite me, like games that I can't imagine not wanting to play if they're brought up and we have time to play them. I'll right away be like, yeah, let's do it. Because some of them, like my number one game is a game that I almost never get to play, but just the thought of playing it excites me to no ends because I enjoy it so much. But yeah, that was pretty much my criteria.
Cool. Right. We shared our lists before David got to the house, and I forgot pretty much everything on everyone's list, so I'm excited to hear it all again. So runners up for me were Terra and Meeple City, or Rampage, Azul, Barren Park,
I forgot about Azul.
Wingspan, Betrayal House on the Hill.
That's a runner.
It's a runner-up. It's a runner-up. A close runner. It was like on my short
only
list.
because Carrie and I know how to kill people and bury bodies.
Alice is Missing was one. And Scythe did not make my top 5 for why. Yeah.
Jamie Stegmeyer, if you're listening.
I think one reason why
he is.
I think one reason why is strictly because I talk about Scythe so freaking much that I just didn't want to put it in this list. But
I talk about Betrayal, and I put it in my list.
Yeah, that's true.
I wanted everyone to just
okay, fine, I'll change my list. No. No, but I figured someone else would bring it up, and I'll chime in there.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite games of all time. But.
So I had to change mine anyway, because I came downstairs and
saw something?
I forgot about something, yeah. So for me...
What was it you saw? Oh, we'll find out, I guess. But
my runners up, again, I'm thinking of this as a mom and like playing with my kids too. So I wanted to have like a different viewpoint than everyone else here at this table. This drives PJ nuts, but Sneaky Snacky Squirrel is in my runners up. I don't care. Like, it is a great gateway board game for children. Alex loves it.
I mean, for children, yeah, but for adults, like,
listen, I want to beat those little stinkers. So like, I will. Anyway, Just One is in my runners up. I love that game.
Such a good one.
And then I like dexterity games. So Cat and Mouth is so much fun to play. And Puckett.
Yep.
And so now I have to actually move one of my board games up here into my runners up for another board game. So I would actually toss Trial by Trolley in my runners up.
Okay.
Trial by Trolley.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Any honorable mentions? You said you didn't have any earlier.
I have.
He actually does.
Yeah,
I do. And
he said there's more than 5 here, but I have runners up too.
Yeah, and the
I
runners
hold you
up
to your words,
are,
David.
The runners up are like, differentiating between 3 to 5, and like the runners up is like, that's nearly impossible,
Yeah,
so if any games are mentioned in the runners up category, they shouldn't feel bad. All right, so I've got Dixit, amazing game with beautiful art. I've got Micro Macro.
Oh, that's a good one.
Crime City is awesome. It's like Where's Waldo for adults. Pandemic Legacy. The Legacy is super fun. That's the first Legacy game I ever played. And then I put Codenames on here.
I think about Codenames.
Even though it's actually not a personal favorite of mine, but my partner is a resident in medical. She's becoming a doctor, and all her friends are residents, and they never play games. But I brought Codenames to a thing, and they all played it, and they are like obsessed, and they were like yelling and screaming, and, and they like want to play Codenames like every night now.
Nice.
So that made it on just because I could remind myself why I love games from seeing other people enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
It's a good gateway.
I have a couple stories like that for my top 5.
And actually, we used Codenames as a way to get some of our high school CYE students to start talking to one another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so it actually built a lot of like rapport in my program.
Yeah.
CYE is for Catholic Youth Education. Just saying.
Understood.
Sunday school for
Sunday school.
other Christian
Yeah.
religions.
We're like crazy about our Sunday school in Catholicism. So.
Yeah, we have our own words for it.
So I'm going to start with my gateway game, which was, 10 years ago now. Whew. The first game that my husband introduced me to when we were dating was Love Letter. So it kind of holds a little extra little space in my heart. Is it something that I gravitate to? No, it's just like, it's my game, you know?
Yeah.
I picked Gloomhaven and D&D. Yes, they're kind of the same, but different. But the same, but different.
Well, are you doing honorable mentions or?
Yes, I'm doing honorable mentions.
These aren't the top 5.
Oh, these are my honorable mentions.
Okay.
I picked Red Dragon Inn.
Yes.
That's on your top 5?
That's not in my top 5.
Wow, okay.
Okay.
That's just a fun game.
Yeah.
You know,
It is super fun.
it's cute little art. It makes you laugh.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever played actually Red Dragon Inn and drink at the same time. But pro tip, no.
It can be done.
It can.
It can be done.
Do you know though the exit games? They're just a fun little play.
Oh, they're
you
so
know, if
good.
you just want to do something and you know, have fun. Did I say D&D?
You did.
Needed.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
And that's it.
Cool.
Red Dragon Inn, Love Letter, Exit Gloomhaven, D&D.
Tom, any runners up for you?
Yeah, no, I actually just swapped one runner up with one of my with my number 5. So my honorable mentions are Love Letter, also same reason pretty much.
Aww.
Dominion, because that is my wife's favorite game. And, we do enjoy playing it.
And she rocks at
Yeah,
it.
she kills everybody.
Got wrecked.
What was my points when we played? Like it was like
Oh,
almost
yeah, no,
50.
Yeah.
And that's usually what happens.
Everyone else was in like the 20s or something.
I've played her a zillion times and she wins 9 out of 10 times easy. Vast the Crystal Caverns, because it's a really great asymmetrical game. Like the way everyone's playing against each other, yet everybody's rules are utterly different from everybody else's rules and how you play the game. So
Yeah,
it's
because that's a
really
game
well
where like people are exploring a cave,
Yeah,
but one person plays the
Yes,
cave,
yes,
and
but- but
another one's like the
paladin's
goblins
trying to
living in
kill
there.
the dragon, and the dragon's trying to escape the cave, and the goblins are trying to kill the paladin, and the thief's trying to steal the treasure, and the cave's trying to collapse and kill everybody. So you're all having different things you're trying to do that don't exactly line up, but you cross paths, and it's really kind of.
I love it. Yeah.
There's a role-playing game called Worlds Without Number, which is like an old-school RPG based on like old-school D&D rules, but it has like sort of a modern, sleek take, and I really like playing with and using it as a role set. It was based on an earlier one by the same publisher called Stars Without Number, which was a sci-fi sort of role set, and they also have a cyberpunk one, Cities Without Number. Highly recommend them. They're really, really nice.
Is that the
toolkits.
one that I broke?
Mm,
Because I chose the ability that nobody can lie to me?
no, that's Blades in the Dark.
Oh, that's Blades.
Which is still a cute game too. And then I bumped down to my runners-up, Innovation, which is a game I do really like. It's a great card game. It has a civilization building theme. I really kind of enjoy it. I'm looking forward to the Innovation Ultimate Edition that's coming out. But yeah, no, I really enjoy Innovation as well. So those are my runners-up.
I got that one for my birthday, and I looked at the rules. I'm like, whoa, this is gonna.
Innovation?
Like, yeah, it's got a learning curve, I think. Like,
No, but you just jump in and like,
yeah, I feel like the rule book says like the rules are easy to learn,
but there's a
hard
lot
to
of-
master.
Totally.
So it's just jumping into it, like you said. So
Yeah,
I do want to play that one.
And I like the theme, how well the powers line up with the civilizational sort of like achievements or whatnot that you get. Like it really kind of feels like they make sense. Like you get gunpowder and you end up destroying other people's abilities, and you have AI, you can end up ending the game and like wrecking everything. And it's fun.
Cool. All right, so let's jump in with our first game. I don't have mine in any particular order. I don't know if you all do or not.
I just sorted
I
mine.
sort of
Kinda.
do.
Yeah.
I've got a 1 and 2.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I have like a 1 and 2.
Yep.
Yeah. So my first one I'm going to talk about is probably like the most common one and the least talked about in like the hobby games, which is poker. I love poker. Like, and just, like poker, you see it on like TV and things like that. And you see people playing it in movies. But then like when you're playing it, you can just pass so much time with friends, just chatting and, just if you have nice chips, the tactileness of the poker chips and the weight of the chips, and the meta game of watching your friends to see if they're bluffing or not, and then there's the actual card play, which is just so good. Yeah. So the game is fun, the meta gaming is great of reading everyone around the table, and then just the fact that like you're just spending a lot of time, and like it's a game where you can have a conversation around it and everything while still just having a good time. And it's just, I've never had a bad time playing poker at a table.
Actually, when I play poker too, like I think of our time in college, the commuter lounge.
Oh my God.
We just played hearts. We never stopped. Like the commuter lounge, we were known for it. And so if you had to go to a class, you'd be like, David, tag me in. Like, here you go. Here's my cards. Gotta go. And so the games never, and Uno. They just never stopped.
See, like that's actually where poker came from on my list, because like immediately hearts came to my head. But that one, I lost the joy in it when we learned that people could like team up, and they created their own language for the game, like using wrestlers, WWE wrestlers, for the different suits. And so they're like, do you have any of so-and-so? And they're like, yeah. And so they would like plot against people to make the game last longer. And because like if someone's like, I have class in 10 minutes, they'll be like, oh, you're gonna be late. They'll be like, we'll make sure that you're late for class. And so,
our Uno games never even ended.
Oh yeah, some of those Uno games were nuts, but so
yeah, in college we were the nerds who were playing card games.
Yeah,
we were drinking.
But because of that, I like lost the joy in hearts because they were so good at card counting and everything that I couldn't keep up with it, and there's no way anyone could win against them. But poker, I don't play against people who are good at card counting, so I'm like, yes, this is the card game that like is just always fun to me.
Yeah, it's bad to play hearts with people who are like math and computer science majors. Just saying.
Yeah.
All right, so my number 1.
Number 1? Number 5?
First game
that I'm choosing, whatever. Number 1 on my list, actually. Surprisingly, you're going to not believe this, Secret Hitler.
Just such a surprise.
Yeah, well...
Like, literally, not sarcastically, it's literally a surprise.
Yeah. Well, again, like, I'm thinking, like, what games, when I see them, make me go, oh, okay, yeah, I got some good stories. And so, that one, whenever we play with our friends, like, the shouting that happens at our table, you're a communist, you're a fascist, and like, they're not the same thing. Like, that fighting that happens.
And we should play that. We haven't played it.
Well, and I actually use it this year because, I teach a college course now, and I was teaching autocratic leadership, and people always ask, how did Hitler get into power? And I go, well, I can actually play a board game with you, and you'll see exactly how it happened. And so I brought it in for my students, and they played it once, and Hitler won. They played it a second time. The fascists and Hitler won. And so then they played it for 3 more days. Whenever they were done, can we please play it again? We're going to win. We're going to, like, you're not going to win. The ideas. So it made me happy because it made them board game lovers. And so after that, I had a student who's like, oh, I heard of a board game where, like, you're kind of like a cannibal, but not on purpose. Can I bring it in? And so now it's like you survive the end of the world kind of thing. It's a really cool game. But now they're getting into board gaming because of Secret Hitler. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
Can we get a board game club at that school?
Listen, no.
Okay.
They don't pay stipends.
I tried.
It's here. You just come here.
I hear you.
Yeah.
My class is full of board games on Fridays. If they're not doing essays and stuff, they're playing board games. Don't you worry. How about you, David?
All right. The poker reminded me of another thing that I should have had in my honorable mentions, which is chess.
Oh,
I do.
Yes.
I love a good game of chess, and I like watching chess, like not live, but like replays when somebody can explain to me what's like going on. It's pretty fun. All right. The first game on my list is a game that no one will have ever heard of because it's not released yet. But I'm a game designer. I play a lot of prototype games, and
I've been trying to get into it. So.
Game design?
No, God, no.
Prototype game.
Game testing and
cool.
all that.
Oh, great. I've got some stuff you can try.
Excellent.
So anyway, this game is called Velociraptor. It's one of my friends.
I'm already in love.
Has created it, and it is signed, so it's going to be a game.
Ooh.
But it's like super not like a game. Like it's even maybe not even a game. But basically, in this game, you are all dinosaurs playing human card games before
that's awesome.
the meteor hits, and you. Each of you in the game has some kind of like coping mechanism that you're trying to like achieve while you're also playing these human games. So like the human games are like kind of like you're playing Crazy Eights, but it's like, Crazy Sevens or something, or you're playing like, I don't know, like a Hearts version of Hearts, but it's like, it's much more simple. But then you're trying to cope with all of these super weird things. So it's like somebody at the table needs to tie. And somebody else at the table needs to add new things to the game. And somebody else needs to, like, explain the rules to everyone over and over again. And so, like, it just is, like, so... It just becomes this whole, like, improv, like, thing. And everybody is just being super silly. And, yeah, it's super hilarious.
Huh.
That
So
sounds
dinosaurs playing human games.
Yeah, it's like a meta... Like,
well, it reminds me of PJ during our Dangers and Dice. We did a side episode called Households and Humans.
And so we played our characters playing households and humans.
Nice.
So I had to DM the whole game like this and do all the character voices like this. And it was so great.
And my brother Jack, he has a character because he actually is the DM for our 4-Seer campaign because he invented this entire world in D&D. And so his character is Thea, and she's a little kobold, and she has a really high squeaky voice like this, and Jack is really deep and natural. So he goes, well, to begin, I'd like to cast Thaumaturgy on myself. Spink. Yeah, so, so the entire game he got to talk normally.
But
PJ's here, like, trying to do, like, all these different voices.
And they would call me on it if I, like, slipped and started talking my normal voice. They'd be like, Hugh, what's wrong with your voice? Oh, sorry. But, yeah, so listeners, 4-Seer episode 25 and a half. Households and Humans, it's called.
Because it was a side comment, like in our actual campaign, we're going to play an evening of Households and Humans. And we should do an episode about that.
Danger and Dice is the podcast.
Yeah.
Find it on our website.
So, but in any case, hearing that made me think of that.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun because there's so much like acting involved,
Yeah.
You really have to like understand your character and really stick to it.
It also reminds me of the card game Curses. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes.
Where Curses it's an improv game where it's like pretend to shave a cat, but then and so like that's one of the things, like you have to pantomime this now, and but then people will start throwing curse cards on you, like you're the Wicked Witch of the West, and you also have a Scottish accent. Now you have to tell me a dad joke, and with both of these accents at the same time, and things like that. So like these like stacking trait, but yeah. So this dinosaur game,
21st birthday party.
Oh my gosh,
so much fun. When you were explaining it, all I could picture
sounds
was
hilarious.
the painting of the dogs playing poker. But instead, it's dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Velociraptors.
Yes. I have little hands. I can't reach the card.
It's super quick. It's like you play for like 3 minutes, and then it's like
that's awesome.
And then you play it again.
And then you can play it again. Yeah.
See, I'm a mom, so the first I thought was, I was a velociraptor. I just thought of Muffin singing in Bluey.
Yeah.
So when is that being sung?
No idea. I don't even know who signed it. So
It's called Velociraptor.
Velocirapture.
Rapture.
The
Okay.
Rapture. You're gonna
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
That's
But,
clever.
I mean, the name could get changed. Who knows?
That was kind of like a tease,
Okay.
though,
Yeah.
because like now we can't play it and we want to play it.
I know.
David,
Don't worry, there's another one of those coming.
No.
You're such a tease, David. How about you, Carrie?
Hi. Okay, so I picked detective. You're a detective and you're trying to solve a murder.
Yeah.
Was it an app? It was an app with it, right?
Yeah, there was. Well, you can use a website.
A
too.
website.
Right, 'cause it's
yeah.
like a one
Yeah.
play. It's a one-play game.
Yeah. You gave us your copy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, you also have the Batman,
Batman
one, which
one,
I
yeah.
never played before.
And we have the Dune one up there too.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's one play for somebody who's played it. So like you'll play it once and you'll never play it again and you'll pass it on.
Yeah.
Which was fun. It was you get to go online, you have to Google search, you have to like literally
You're allowed to use the resources of the
literally
internet.
you're literally sorry. Detective. It's just a fun game. It feeds into my obsession with true crime. And I just had so much fun. I never wanted to stop playing. I just wanted to keep going and going and going and going. But of course, in the end, you have to catch a killer, right? I wish... Was that the only other expansion that came out? Do you know if there came out?
There's a few. There was like the 1970s.
There are a bunch of different
cool.
official detective games. Then there's the Batman one. There's Dune House Secrets. I'm sure there are others too. I'm just not sure.
I have one that I don't know the subtitle of.
Yeah.
I love that game.
It was really well made. I think.
It was very well made. And it was like the first kind of game that we ever played like that.
Now, in the original detective one, because in the Batman one, everyone they're all trying to solve the crime, but they want to do it first, and they will withhold information from each other and things like that. Yeah, I haven't gotten too far into it. We only did like the intro scenario where you are literally working together, and there isn't any like of the backstabbing or whatever. But so I'm curious to see how far that goes in it.
Do you need an app for it too?
Website or app, yeah.
Which I feel is more accessible than like forcing it to be an app. So
that's right. It wasn't
yeah.
So that's my first game.
It's a good pick.
list.
I like that.
I quickly just kind of reverse ranked mine. So like my number 5, I guess, in my games that remind me why I love gaming is Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
It's some of I've mostly DM'd. Like I've only played once, really.
Yeah.
Like I'm a forever DM, I guess. And some of the best moments I've ever had in gaming have been playing D&D, especially with my wife, and our son just has been like fantastic. Like you guys broke the game like so badly.
That's what we do. We break games.
Yep. Because they basically, since it was just the two of them and myself, they doubled up on characters. And one of my memories that I'll always have is like level 2, completely in the rules, completely doing everything by the book. And I'm the DM and I'm like watching everything happen. I'm just like, this is really happening. They killed a dragon.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I was a bugbear, so I was really...
Granted, it was a young dragon, but still, they killed a dragon at level 2. And I'm just watching, and they're using pretty good tactics, and they keep on, grappling it, holding it down, not letting it get back in the air, and healing each other, and I'm just like... I'm watching the hit points drop and drop and drop, and I'm like, I think they're actually going to kill it. Yep. And then later on, they started a food cart where they sold dragon meat and other assorted monster parts.
Hey, they're resourceful. No meat was wasted.
Right, my character wanted to be a chef. A bear chef.
One of my favorite memories from D&D, it was like our second time ever playing the game. So I learned how to DM and everything. I got Storm King's Thunder, one of the official campaign books, and Jack, the DM of our Danger and Dice pod, decides to go into a tomb where he finds a wraith, and so level 1 characters have 11 hit points max, and wraiths have 45 and deal 2d6 damage, so it could one hit kill him. And they traded they rolled against each other and missed for about 10 minutes. Just back and forth. He rolled and missed. I rolled and missed. He rolled and missed. And to the point where people left the table to get tea, and we're still just battling. And then he kills the thing, and then walks out, and he loots the place, and he's like, "What do I find?" Nothing. There is nothing in it.
Because Matt and I were there, and we're like, so Matt and I are just out in the graveyard, and we're just digging up bodies. Now we made stuff up. We were just...
It was so insane. But that is why D&D is actually my number 4. So
I got D&D on here too.
I didn't realize we could put D&D on here, so I didn't. But
yeah.
We asked ahead of time because we're like, can we put any sort of tabletop games? And it's like,
yeah.
Yeah, you were in the group chat.
Listen, I don't think of D&D as an experience to me. It's not like a game. It's like it is, but like I don't know. It's something to me. It's a little bit different. Like it's acting, and it's all improv. You know,
for some people, it's much more about the game, like min-maxing. Your character getting the stats perfect so you can like do crazy things. And
I just have fun being ridiculous. I look forward to trying to poison a well just to confuse my brother. Like that's what I look forward to.
Like, let's try this just to see what happens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're saying I'm chaotic neutral? But what am I? Okay, so how does that work? All right, I'll embody the character.
I like the game part of D&D. I mean, I like the other stuff too, but I like the game part. Yeah, I like the battles. Mm-hmm. We just had the grand finale of our more than a year-long campaign. I'm the DM also.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And I was about to kill it was about to be TPK. I had 3 of them down. They're fighting the boss. He's nearly dead, but they were gonna lose. And the rogue rolled a natural 20. Sneak attack, finished him off. Everybody screamed and yelled. It was kind of an awesome, perfect ending to the campaign. Yeah.
See, I wish I could make tense fights like that, but my dice hate me.
Facts, yes.
And every time I pull out a big bag boss, I roll and I get a 4. I'm like, oh, okay, well, nothing happens. And then they roll a nat 20 against me. It's like, all right, double damage against my boss. Great.
Yeah, you should have seen what they did to Strahd. they brutalized Strahd. It was no contest.
So what's your second one, darling?
I said D&D. That was my...
Oh, it was?
Yeah, that was my number 4, so... D&D. Yep.
Kidding. All right. So my next one is Betrayal. And I know that Carrie has that on her list too. And I think you jumped... Yeah. So Betrayal, whether it's Legacy or the original, that's a game that I don't mind breaking out because everyone loves it.
Yeah.
When I get with my students, when we play it, they love it so much that they want to play it again and again because every time you play it, it's something different. And since the original version is a lot broken.
They all are. Even the new ones. They're all broken. It's
kind of fun to go, well, house rules. You make a decision. I like that.
Legacy's not really broken in my opinion.
No, yeah,
Legacy's pretty good. Yeah.
Some of the, I'll just kind of jump in because
this is also my next game.
Too, so. Legacy had one of those, the very end of Legacy when Yumi and Little John played, the very end of it, when we won by the skin of our teeth was one of the best moments I'll remember playing a game. It was just fantastic. Without spoiling anything, it was so tense and we came so close and we did it and we were like...
It's actually my number 2 on my list is Betrayal.
Yeah.
I call it Betrayal in the House on the Hill that is haunted.
Yeah.
But I love both of them, the original and the Legacy. Oh,
Yeah.
I wish we could play the Legacy again and have that.
Well, you can play it in free play, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
Just to the story in it and how now.
How it got to the... It was a prequel to the second edition. Yeah.
I love the random of it. Also, I love as well. Some of my games are some randoms. I like randoms.
Yeah, the moment I learned it was the prequel to the second, we all learned it at the same time because a certain room appeared, and we're all like, we know that room, and you got to see the creation of the room.
Why it was there,
and
makes so much sense.
That was perfect.
The haunts were so much better in Legacy, I think.
Yeah, yes, they were
very
well
because
balanced.
it was handcrafted for the game and everything. Yeah,
and I just remembered things how well the game just screwed with your head. There were certain elements that came into the game that you were thinking the game was going to go one way, and then the game's like, psych, no, we're going to completely take this out from under you.
And you guys haven't finished it yet?
No.
We have to get our game group back together because we started it before COVID, and then after COVID,
everyone was dating.
So we didn't have our group of 5 anymore. It's now a group of 6. So that means one person can't play and things like this, so they're just going to be kind of sitting there.
You can team up characters.
You can team up, but I don't know. I don't know if they'd be into it.
Yeah. Well, in any case, since they are meant to betrayal, what is your next game, David?
I was just talking about D&D, so I'll just say that's my next one.
There we go.
Okay. Well, fine. That was easy.
So coming around to our third game then?
Yeah, I guess so.
So
Did you? Oh,
They all had betrayal.
you both had betrayal.
Right, my betrayal was number 2, though. in my
Oh,
list.
okay. Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah.
Where was yours?
Number 4.
Okay. Air 5.
So my number 3 is Clank.
That is my number 5.
Hey! And
I mean, yeah, number 4. I'm sorry.
yeah,
Can't
and like David, I think you said it when we mentioned like our reasoning behind it is like when we introduced this to Laura and Ray from Wellhouse Pod, that they both at the same time, like looking at their hand of cards, leaned back and went, I never saw a game do this before, you know? And that was the moment that they're like, we're in this. So, like, this game is awesome,
Nice.
you know? And just, like, the mixture of deck building and just going into a dungeon and trying to pilfer as much as you can without waking the sleeping dragon and getting out alive and all that. And then, you know, like, sometimes, while it's annoying at the time, it's funny after the fact where one person just goes and grabs the cheapest thing and then gets out. And it's like, come on, really? But then, like, afterwards, you have this hilarious story of like, yeah, I almost got you all killed because I just took that little cup for 7 gold or whatever.
Now, which one did you do the legacy?
No, I have it. Never
Yes,
played it.
So
good.
that's why it's my number 4, the legacy one.
Mm-hmm.
Legacy was actually the original version we played.
Yes, and then we got the...
And then we got Catacombs, which is really good
I
replayable.
really want to play Catacombs.
Yeah, I have it, so yeah, we can bring it over.
Yes, please.
I have never played
great.
Clank, but
Wow.
You'd like
it's
it.
I
fun.
know. Yeah,
It's made by
it's
the
on
Dune
my list.
Imperium
Yeah.
designer.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
so,
oh, is it?
you can
Yeah, very
really
similar
feel-
bones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're definitely different games, but...
But doesn't go as long as.
Oh, no.
Well, you never played with me.
Yeah.
I'd say
Hold up.
one thing, though, about Clank Legacy I will quickly point out is that you really have to play, in our opinion, in a co-op manner to get through it and survive.
Okay.
Because you can... If you play ruthlessly like you would play normal Clank, where you're playing for somebody to win each time, you'll probably fail like at least half the missions, if not like all of them. Now, it does fail forward. You do still advance to the next mission.
Yeah, yeah.
But we beat every mission only because we totally
Worked together,
co-opted
right.
the whole thing.
Interesting.
So,
Okay. Okay. So that was my number 3, Clank.
My number 3 is Cyanide and Happiness's Joking Hazard. Because I know that like you play like Cards Against Humanity so often, like you get used to the jokes and there's cards that match. But when we're trying to get friends interested, and they're not really board game players, it's a great starter, you know, because they want to play it and they want to play it again. And there's, you know, it's not appropriate for kids, so you got to make sure you're choosing the right audience. But I kind of look at that card game too as like, all right, are these people going to fit in with our friend group? Because if you like these jokes, you'll fit in, you know, because we're so eclectic. But like, I don't like setting up crazy.
So it's a litmus test for friendship.
I guess so, yeah. But like, I don't like setting up board games, but like a card game, you just put the cards out, you play, and you can talk, you can drink, whatever. And now we played Doom Links twice. I would say like they tie Joking Hazard and Doom Links because they're both fun. They're both interesting.
Very different games, but just
they're both
as easy
card
to
games,
play.
Yeah, and I like the flavor text. So
yeah, yeah.
So that'd be my 3.
I've got the Holiday Hijinks series of their like 18 card escape room games. So this is another bunch of games that I play through like playtesting, game design, and they are. It's like just very like puzzly, like lot of like word puzzles, but also other puzzles.
Cool.
You have 18 cards. You're like each card has like, or maybe 2 cards have like a new puzzle for you, and then you like put them into the app or the website, whatever. It'll tell you if you're right, and then you get to move on. And sometimes you're like gathering items, and like each one is woven around a story of a holiday. So like the one that's I just played that's going to be coming out is like St. Patrick's Day. And so you're like chasing a leprechaun around. And then like you're like solving all of these puzzles, but then like they all tie in together. So like for St. Patrick's Day, like you spend so much time trying to figure out these puzzles, but the answers are always like green or like, shamrock or like, so it just like fits perfectly. They're just really, really nicely tied together. And I love puzzles. So
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
My gifted kid would love those too.
Yeah, there's a whole series of them. So
there we go.
And these are actually already out, most of them.
Cool.
But not the St. Patty's Day.
Not the St. Patty's though.
See,
So that
again, you're being a tease.
something to look forward to. Yeah.
I just realized that I had a list of 6, not 5.
That's okay.
So I put Scythe
Yes.
as my number 4 out of my 6. When I first played Scythe, I did not like it.
Mm.
And then, my husband and my son loved the game, you guys. But, I want to play with my family.
Yeah.
So, but the more and more I played it, the more and more I fell in love with it. The artwork.
Yeah.
Chef kisses.
Yeah.
It's a game that I think we don't play enough. I wish we played it more.
They have a sort of like pseudo legacy
Wait,
campaign
what?
The Rise
Yeah.
of Fenris.
Yes.
It's
Yes,
so
they
good.
do.
You can borrow it.
You have it?
Yeah.
There's a Scythe Legacy?
Sort of legacy. It's like
Sorta?
yeah, it's like 10 missions.
It's-
You don't have to destroy anything. Is my thing.
Right. Yeah. It becomes modular expansions after that. You mix and match. All the boxes you open up become mini expansions.
There goes our bank account.
Yeah.
Did you see the look on my face? I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think we've only played with John and you, right? I don't think we've played with my nephews or anybody else. It's just the 3 of us.
Maybe once we played with other people, but I don't remember for certain.
Yeah. I soloed my way through Rise of Fenris, and it was amazing. It was really good.
All right, Tom, how about you?
So I put going next to my list, like my third was Santorini. Santorini.
I love Santorini.
It's so good.
A lot of people like chess, they like checkers, they like Go, but for me, Santorini is that game for me, like that deterministic, perfect information game. But it's, to me, the most elegant game I've ever played. The rules are super simple to learn, but there's so much depth to the game, especially when you put in the variable player powers, like the god powers for the different players. You can play like 3 players, 4 players, but it really shines at 2 players, just going back and forth. And especially when you have different powers and the game changes every time because of the matchup of like slightly different tweaks that completely change how everything works. And so myself and our son have done crazy things and like trying to trap each other in corners and all sorts of other things like on this. And I mean, the board's not very big, but there's so many different things you could do in the space of that because of the way the game plays and that it's like a sort of 3-dimensional.
The verticality of it. Yeah.
It's so much fun. Like I wish I got in on the Kickstarter for the Pantheon edition, and I'm hoping I can still pick up a copy when they end up coming out. It's really a fantastic game. And I think when I bought it, it was like, I want to say from Target or something for
I think
not
that's the first.
Yeah, it's like
game
$20.
John played.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Ollie's had it for $9, the New York edition.
Oh,
Yeah,
we
we got
bought
the
that.
New
We never
York,
tried it yet.
Yeah.
It's because the board is weirdly shaped. It's not like the normal.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like shaped like Manhattan Island. It's kind of like a weird thing to it, and I think it has different powers. But highly recommend it for anyone who wants to play a great, simple 2-player game that they can keep on playing forever.
Okay, so my number 2. Is Survive Escape from Atlantis. Oh, is that on your list too?
Yeah.
This game is another one where like people are like, can we play Survive? I'm like, I don't know. Like, sure. And then the first turn, and like you move onto the boat, and then you roll the dice, and like a shark appears, and things like that.
Game.
Yeah.
That was a fun game.
And
That was a fun
as soon as that first turn's over, it's like, yeah, that's right. This game is hilarious, and this game is amazing, and this game just goes for it. Every turn, is just intense and dramatic and funny, and I don't know, just.
Yeah, it was on my list too, because when I think about Survive, I think about we invite our friends to play it, and it's just a great way to see like how they react in those situations, because it's so different from my usual board game of like, playing with friends, like party games, joking around, I like dexterity games too. But that one, I just love how there's like a natural team up. Oh, well, I don't think PJ, he can't win. I don't care if you or I win, David. We're going to take him down. I just like that. And like the possibility of survival is so low and the stakes are so against you. I just enjoy it.
I've seen so many people get 0 points in that game because they never, ever get their meeple off to one of the corners of the board because, they get targeted by their quote unquote friends.
And, Games Overboard had come to my school to do a presentation for my gifted kids because they're working on board game building for like TSA and stuff. And I have a group of boys and I said, okay, this board game, you guys have to play because it's the 4 boys. I call them the 4 Musketeers. They're just crazy. And the first time they played, because at first, I don't want to play. This looks kind of like Candyland. I'm like, honey, no, it's not. And they played and they go, we got to play again.
Yeah. And that was in November. I haven't seen the game since.
No, it's still in my classroom. Every chance they get a chance, they play it. And they used it actually to build a whole new version. So I can actually be like David, like, look, I did a play testing of a board game.
Nice.
It's wonderful, isn't it? No, it's actually really cool. So they invented one. It's Survive, but it's your every other holiday that's not Christmas, and you're jealous of Santa because he gets like all the love and all the whatever. But so in their game, you're every other like holiday, like Valentine's Day, whatever, and you are trying to take stuff from Santa. So you've already gone to his workshop and you're trying to now run away from the workshop. And Santa's in the middle. Instead of like there being a crack in it, Santa, and he's like a big angry man. And so instead of there being like, like things that are going to help you, there's angry elves that do certain things. There's angry reindeer that do certain things. There's angry abominable snowmen who do certain things. So they built off of the game, but they had their own little flair. And if whatever holiday you choose, whether it's Halloween or whatever, you have a player card and you have specific things that you can do because if you're Halloween, you can do the pumpkin roll, so you can roll a little fast or whatever. So it's really cute.
Did it work?
Yes. There are some kinks to kick out, but they actually won like 3rd place for their board game. And then the reason they lost points was actually because of their information packet, their how to like the instructions. So I like Survive because I just like it. I like watching people get into the game. I like them to be happy. Some people play Betrayal, they want to keep playing it. When they play Secret Hitler, they want to keep playing it. Joking Hazard. I mean, I chose games that are replayable and everybody wants to enjoy. So I just like to Survive.
Everyone I know who has introduced or who we've introduced this game, like while they were playing it, like turn 5 or so, they would hop on the Amazon and order a copy. And they're like everyone that we've introduced this game to.
The expansion's not so great though.
It's okay. It's weird. Yeah, it's just weird.
The base game is the best.
Yeah.
So I actually was considering bumping off Survive or putting it with a slash for Barren Park. Because Survive is for a very specific, like you get the 4 Musketeers, they're going to love Survive. You get us together, they're going to love Survive. But Barren Park, I like because... oh my God.
Never mind.
More ideas. I love how, like, as we talk, we start changing ideas on our list.
Yeah.
But like for that, for me as a gifted kind of person, like I love the idea of like building. I love crosswords. I love Wadoku, those different games. So like you have to make these pieces fit in your park and you can only build off of certain things. And I love that. I love the building your own individual park.
And it's so easy to play. I taught that game to a bunch of old ladies at a hobby shop where I bought the game. Like I'm in the checkout aisle and they're like, what's this? I taught the game to them as I'm paying for it. And then I went back the next day to get a copy for my brother-in-law and there weren't any more left. And so I think they had bought the other copies. But yeah, it's such an easy game to play and it's so much fun.
I just hate how it's not packaged well.
Oh yeah, there's no insert. It's terrible.
So that's I would say Barren Park instead of Survive for my.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
It's a good choice.
It was on my runner-up.
Thank you. It's your turn, sir.
All right, I've got Blades in the Dark. It is a role-playing game where you are a a group of scoundrels, so you're like thieves and murderers.
We all get excited.
I love that game.
We have it.
It's not on my thing, but I love that game.
Yeah.
That game was so much fun.
So you get to play the bad guys.
Isn't it fun playing?
And you're like a crew. It's like it's the world setting is like so evocative and just like inspiring and like fun. So it's like you're in an industrial kind of city that used to be in this like fantasy realm. But so there's all sorts of like magic and stuff, sort of. But there's been this like apocalypse. The sun doesn't come up anymore, so it's always dark.
The crows.
Ghosts,
The crows.
There's ghosts, there's like crows that like anytime someone dies, crows come and like find the person that
The
died.
city's almost like a
wowzers.
citadel city because surrounded in the countryside, it's just all ghosts. Like you can't.
Yeah,
get
it's like
anywhere.
too dangerous. You
Yeah.
can't leave the
Cool.
city. It's too dangerous to go into the Deathlands. So the city is like surrounded by this
And
protective.
there's this like lightning train that goes between. The
Yeah.
different,
It's a fun game.
cities.
I really. That's the game that I broke.
and it's like yeah, and like the mechanics are like so well done.
Yeah.
Like for that game, there's this like really interesting creative mechanic where you can like do flashbacks. So like, you know, in D&D where you're like spend an hour or 2 hours like, hey, should we go over here or how should we do this? And
What
you're
should
like
we put
planning
in our kit and bring with us?
yeah, what should we bring with us? What do we need to get? Like where how should we approach this thing? And you like spend so much time like, you know,
And then you're like-
what if this is going to happen? Oh, we should put on this disguise and we're going to need to have like this thing, you know, and it's just like, so in Blades in the Dark, it's just like you go into the adventure and you like are starting your score, right? You're like trying to kill somebody or steal something or whatever. And then in the middle of that, you can, it's like you're playing out like Ocean's 11 or something. You can flash back to like a scene where you've prepared perfectly for like the problem at hand. So you're like, oh yeah, I did like seduce this person ahead of time so that I can like
awesome.
get the secret password, right? And then you like play out that scene and then you go back into like the real time part of the story. Yeah, it's just,
Fun.
it's so fun.
There's a few other
Yeah.
games on the same that use the same mechanics. Scum and Villainy for like sci-fi sort of
Yeah.
Firefly-esque.
Yeah.
Wicked Ones where you play the monsters in a fantasy world, so you're the bad guys and running a dungeon.
They're all built on the Blades in the Dark
Mhm.
framework.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Blades in the Dark was the first one to use that mechanic. And it also has other like great systems. It's just,
You know, it's I agree. It is a really cool system. Like we played once or twice, and that's the one that you were
That's
talking about
the
as
one I
far
was
as
broke
that you
where-
broke. Yeah.
Your playbook had a
and I was
character who no one can lie to
Nobody
you.
can lie to me.
because you
Yeah.
just know they're lying.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
you ask the right questions.
Yeah, I'm not sure I love that specific ability, but like, you know, but whatever. You can.
The flashback was
The flashbacks are great
it's
because it
Yeah.
kind of it takes the emphasis off that your player needs to be a master at all these things, and you can say your character is. And when your character gets in a situation where they would be an expert, they are an expert. You don't have to say, well, your player should have known all this stuff. You just like, oh yeah, of course my character would know how to do that.
There's also like there's also a whole there's like the score, the action, the stuff, and then there's a whole downtime phase, and it's really nice how the game like breaks up like the action moment to moment kind of stuff, and then this whole like you're recovering, you're gathering resources, you have to like heal, you have to like you get super stressed, you have to like everybody has a vice, so you have to go like you have to go indulge your
You have to
vice.
go
Yeah.
use drugs or
Oh my
Yeah.
the red light district or whatever it is.
Whatever it is, or like
Problem.
yeah, in order to like recover your stress, which is what you use to like fuel your abilities.
You gotta relieve your stress somehow. If it's red
and,
light
like-
district, it is. You know what?
Yeah, and just like the
No judgment.
the world and the way it's written in the book is just like so evocative, and like this game, like no other, has like I was just like immersed in the setting so much. Yeah,
I like
it's a
that.
great game.
That sounds awesome.
Write
we,
that
need,
down.
we need to look into that.
Yeah,
one.
write that down.
I will bring it over tomorrow.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I might. Maybe I'll start up a.
It's also I'll
campaign.
just keep talking about Blades in the Dark. It's
It's all good. It's a great game.
Yes.
I don't know.
Like-
why
I want to hear
put it
more
on.
about it. So go for it.
for
Sure.
running the game, for being the game master. Like I don't know how you all do your D&D DMing
Mm-hmm.
prep, but like for me, there's a lot of beforehand like planning preparing. I mean, I'm big into
Making
like
sure
the combat
stat
stuff.
blocks
Like,
are all up there
exactly,
and
all that
everything,
stuff. So Blades in the Dark has none of that. It's like designed for you to be full improv at the table. So like you come as the game master with nothing, and the way the mechanics work is like you roll the dice, and then like usually what happens is the characters will mostly succeed at what they're trying to do, but there will be a consequence. And so then like from the story that's developing, you say this consequence, and then that just like feeds into the story, and you don't really need anything more than that.
What's the dice rolling mechanism?
Just D6s.
It's all D6s.
Oh, is it the
So it's 6 is a full success, no consequence. 4 or 5 is a
you
success
do it,
with
but something
consequences.
happens, yeah.
And then 1, 2, or 3 is you don't do it and you get consequences.
Yeah.
So like the 4 and 5s are like that's what you want out of the
Didn't
game.
Adventure Zone
Adventure
use that?
Zone.
Yeah.
The Monster of the Week
Yeah.
campaign has that that same mechanism.
And it just like drives the story onwards.
Yeah.
And you really don't have to have stuff planned, and it's just like like because of what you're talking about in the game and what they were trying to do, there's a natural consequence, and then that leads into the next thing and the next thing.
Yeah.
It's a much more like story centric game
Which
than
is-
Dungeons and Dragons
It is,
necessarily is.
yes,
Like if
it
you're
is.
playing Dungeons and Dragons mostly for the story, this is actually like a more suitable game system.
Way
I would
better.
say.
That's
Yeah.
what I was
Yeah.
just thinking. Like that's
Yeah.
what our D&D group is about, is
Right.
the story. So
But it also like I'm a big like mechanic, game
Mhm.
person, and it has enough of that to like keep me also engaged, because
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like a game that's only story.
Mhm.
Right.
And so there's still
you
enough.
gotta have some kind of game in there.
There's still
to
enough
play.
game.
Yeah.
You need
there.
something to kind of
Yeah.
feel the creativity and like,
Right.
push it forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Mhm.
Okay.
So you didn't have that down, Carrie. What do you have then?
I know.
Did you
That is such a great game.
did you write it down, PJ? Add to cart?
I mean, I'll
We'll bring
hear
the
it
book
when
tomorrow,
we.
right? You'll bring it
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
It's actually like they have most of what you need for free online.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
And the book is nice, but
Yeah.
All right. So my number 3, on a totally different wavelength, One Night Ultimate Werewolf.
Yeah.
That's my next one, so we can just. do
Oh,
this here,
okay.
yeah.
And then, with One Night Ultimate Werewolf, One Night Ultimate Vampire.
Daybreak.
Daybreak. Just a fun party game. I have 2 nephews that come over and hang out with their cool aunt. And my brother comes also because, hi, Danny. And it's just sitting at the table with them and playing One Night Ultimate Werewolf is some core awesome memories.
Yes.
Seeing 3, because my son plays also, youngins under the age at that point, they were like 10, 11, 12, trying to lie, trying to do this game. Was just so much fun.
And I'm awful at social deduction games like that, but I
Right.
love playing them.
Right. And so is John,
Yeah.
but he loves playing that game.
Yeah.
There's just something about it.
Because, there's a combination of, like, yeah, part of it is reading people and bluffing, but part of it's also using logic. So, like,
Yes.
as far as the reasoning out, what could be the case and whatnot, like, we are.
And the
decent at
randomness
that.
of it, too,
Yeah.
because you don't know what you're going to get.
And it's
Yeah.
so
At that
quick.
moment.
Like, the formula it built on was the original werewolf formula where it had player elimination, and then people are just stuck not being able to do anything forever. And I just love the way it kind of took that and made it into a quick 5-minute game where you can play, don't even need a referee. You just,
No,
like,
because I've never played the just werewolf
right.
ever.
Yeah.
And it
Werewolf,
seems tiring.
yes.
I've watched my students play Mafia, which
is the same thing.
Same
essentially,
thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, the ones that like once they're killed,
Yeah.
they
Right,
just,
if you're the
they
first
just
one,
walk away,
Yeah.
and
How's that fun for anybody? Well,
yeah.
So since One Night kind of takes that away where there's only a single vote and it's like either you win or you lose, it gets rid of that. And the app is really nice for it too. Like you don't need the app to play. Somebody could just kind of like read this sort of script out loud with everyone's eyes closed. But the app is very well made. I like that it's not required. And it adds a lot to the game.
The
And
app.
I know.
No, the app. Eric Summerer, the guy who narrates the app.
Yeah.
When he plays One Night with his children, they make him use the app. He's not allowed to read the script.
That's so sad.
So yeah, One Night is just a fun game.
Yeah. I would say for higher player counts, depending on how things go, Blood on the Clock Tower may end up replacing it.
I
as
can't
my
wait
favorite.
to get that one to the table.
Yeah, I'm really eager. I ended up keeping my copy. I think I'm gonna.
You did?
I think I'm gonna hold on to it. And, I'm really eager to play that because I read the entire rules and everything for every single character, every single.
So you're gonna be the storyteller? Then?
I'm happy to be the storyteller.
Yay!
I'll even wear the big black Halloween cape and be the storyteller for it. That'll be awesome.
You got to make sure you put the black and eyeshadow on.
So David, last week, well, about a month ago, we were sitting around the table, a whole group of us, and we were talking
Every
about
2 weeks we get together for a game. Afternoon.
And so we were talking, and we're like, man, like I would, and I was talking to Tom and Carrie, and I was like, I would totally go halvesies with you on Blood on the Clock Tower if if we found a good price or whatever. And
everyone's like, what's Blood on the Clock Tower?
Yeah, and so we explained it, and then our friend Matt found it for $100, so a third of the price off. And so he just bought it.
Is it $300? Oh my god!
No, it's $150. It's $150.
A third off.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm not a math teacher. I'm like, sure, yeah.
Math is hard.
Yeah, it's normally $150. He found it for $100, so he just bought it, and so he shows up with a copy of it last week, and then Tom and Carrie show up with a copy of it.
Because we said we're gonna. She asked, like, should we get it? And I'm like, oh, we'll go halvesies. Like,
Yeah,
well,
like
don't
we said we'd go halvesies, so we'll definitely go halvesies.
No,
And,
I mean,
we'll still honor
Wait, so
that.
you haven't-
you don't have to.
You haven't played it yet?
No.
No.
Yeah, because
we helped
we
unbox
opened,
it.
unbox it. There's a lot of stuff in
Beautiful
there.
game.
Yeah.
we
It's supposed to
unboxed
be
it.
great. Yeah.
We
I don't know.
understand why it's $100 to $150 after opening it. and
Yeah,
unboxing
yeah.
There's
so,
velvet in there and everything.
Yeah, we unboxed it
But
last
it's
week.
not gonna.
Tactile.
It's not gonna replace one night because it's like a whole.
Right.
It's an
need
evening, yeah.
Bare
One night,
minimum of 6
you
people
could be
to
like
play.
in a
Yeah,
frat
yeah.
house with your drunk friends and still play One Night Ultimate Werewolf.
Exactly.
Where I don't think that's probably
No,
a possibility.
No,
right?
with this game, it's much more. There's a lot more improv going on, and it plays more like original Werewolf, except when you get eliminated, you're still in the game.
Yeah,
You're a ghost, and you still can talk.
and you get a
I
vote.
love.
You still
get
get a single
one
vote
vote
left,
so you have to make it count.
Yep, for the rest of the entire game.
Yeah.
So yeah.
If you like One Night Ultimate Werewolf, I'm going to have to recommend a movie.
Oh yeah.
It's called The Werewolf Within.
Werewolves within.
Werewolves Within.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say before we move on to the next game, the first several times we played One Night, we didn't really.
We did it wrong, I think.
Well, yeah, we didn't know how to play, and so it did not land with us at all. Like one person, he wasn't the werewolf. But then the troublemaker swapped him with someone who was the werewolf. And then at the end, he's like, did I win? Like, I don't know if I won or not because I didn't even know I was the werewolf. And now,
Now you're the werewolf.
Yeah, and now so-and-so died and I'm still alive. So I guess I won.
Yeah, it's just
And,
whatever
and
R at that.
and so, we didn't really know how to play it. And so it took us a while to really get the hang of that game. I think Secret Hitler kind of really eliminated that game from our house. Like, I play it with my students more than I don't think we've ever played it here since we've played a couple times, but
but a Secret Hitler is just, there's something, everyone is interested and fascinated by World War II and
less ambiguity in the rules.
That, and
people...
you get to really yell at each other.
In Secret Hitler, who's the bad guy, but in the werewolf,
Well, there's much more
Werewolves,
you're
maybe.
moving. There's the extra feature of moving the different
You may not even be
policies.
who you thought you were.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Secret
I'm not,
Hitler,
but there's policies you're enacting. You have the chancellor and you have a president. You have there's so many more features that go to that game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But now after playing it with my students and everything, it is such a good game. And I do love that game.
It's fun.
Now that I know how to play it properly. So we're on to our number ones.
Yeah.
Number one.
What's yours?
Mine is probably not a surprise to people who know me, Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven is just by and far one of the greatest games I've ever played, and just seeing it on my shelf just makes me happy. Like, just looking at the box, there's something about it. Like the world that was built and the characters that are in it. Yeah. And the things that it does that I've never seen a board game do before. Like, the AI deck and the monsters that you fight. Like, wolves will stick together in a pack, and, if they do, then they do more damage against you and things like that. Or, not really a spoiler, but minor spoiler, the first boss you fight will refuse to fight you and just run away from you the whole time. And you have to chase him down to kill him, which I've never seen in a video game or board game before. Like, that's just unheard of. And, like, he won't fight. Instead, he just opens doors where zombies are. And
even in D&D, man, it's like, you can't get away with that.
No, you can't. And so it's incredible. And this giant 20-some pound box basically breaks down to a hand of 10 cards. And that's all. The game is so easy to play, even though it looks so daunting.
It looks intimidating.
And the fact that, it's so intimidating looking that Shanna has never played it.
Nope.
And it's so...
Don't give me that look, Harry. I told you, I don't like setting up games.
Yeah.
The setup is a bear.
Yeah,
The setup is a bear. With an organizer, it's easier, for sure. It's a lot faster. But...
See, I would rather set up Gloomhaven than Suburbia.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, and then there's the fact that there's like a world map and you discover new places and put stickers down. And then you can just choose to like go to that place now, like, oh, what's this? I don't know, let's go find out. Yeah. And you go to that place and see what's there. And then you learn how terrible oozes are.
I hate oozes.
Oh, it's split again. No.
Now the hallway is full of them and I can't walk down it.
Now with Gloomhaven, would you say the Frosthaven is equally as fun? Good?
Yes. Absolutely. I've only played a little bit of Frosthaven, but like it is Gloomhaven, but
cold.
Yes. Everything's blue in color instead of like browns and things like, dungeon colors. Yeah. And the cool thing with Frosthaven is when monsters die, they don't drop coins, they drop loot. And so you take a loot token, and it looks like a little money bag, but then at the end of the scenario, you cash in those loot tokens for a number of loot cards, and on them might be leather, or wood, or stones, and then you use those to either make new armor or potions or make a building for the town of Frosthaven or like reinforce the walls because the town's going to get invaded if you don't and things like that. So that's the really cool thing with Frosthaven is it just takes the, and I haven't gotten far enough in the story, but Gloomhaven's one major flaw is it does not have a story. It's there kind of, but yeah. I mean, not really. Where Frosthaven...
Is second edition supposed to improve that at all?
Second edition is supposed to improve it and also like balance things a lot more and things like that. Make it less text dependent too. But Frosthaven is supposed to have a much more cohesive and interesting story.
Yeah, so. I think my sense with Gloomhaven is, like there's a big sense of wonder to it and that there's so much to like explore and discover in the game, not just in the
it feels like a living world,
right and in every sense, and like what items are there, what is going to happen in the story, what monsters are going to encounter, what is going to happen. When you retire a character, because like every character you create has a goal, and once they reach that goal they retire, they go away, but then like you take a card, it says like, when this character retires, put card 103 into the road events or the city events. And then that character might come back again in the story later, which is so cool. I'd say the only flaw we had with the game, and that kind of was what made us stop playing the game, is we got a combination of characters due to other characters retiring that eventually became like unplayable practically. And the goals for those characters were impossible to meet. Like one was collect like 10 of these things, but we know we're near a mission that we can get those things.
Yeah, yeah.
And
so you'd have to like replay an old mission or something
yeah,
like that.
We should have just house ruled it saying, look, if you're miserable with your characters, just cash them in and just write new ones.
And you can like completely just, you know, you can even use the same mini and whatever, like the box and of all the cards, and just rename it and say, "Oh, you're a new person now," you know,
and since there's so many starting classes to pick from, we could have just picked from one of the starting classes again and just gone back to that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think the game is playable with like a few tweaks like that. It just, if you get stuck in a rut like that, I would just say just pick something else. Not pick a different game, but do something in it to make it work.
And my last favorite thing I want to say about Gloomhaven, which I appreciate because my dice in D&D hate me. So instead of a 20-sided die, you have a deck of 20 cards. And one of them is a straight miss, like a nat 1. You know, like you don't do the thing you want to do. And then there's a double damage one, which is like a nat 20. And then there's +1s and -1s and +2s and all that. And as you level up, you can get rid of those low cards, you know, get rid of some -1s and 0s and put in some +1s and +2s. And, you know, like, that's such a cool idea. Like, I just imagine, like, if you could do that with a D20 on D&D, like, get rid of some of those 1s and 2s and 3s, you know, and like, oh, I have 3 3s on my D20 now, or like, I have a couple 11s on there. Like, I think that's such a brilliant idea.
When I roll a 17, I do poison damage.
Yeah.
So for my number one, I was like, oh, I gotta change some stuff around. I have 1.5. If that makes sense. So the reason why is the one that I'm going to say right now, it's not my official number one because we've only played it one time, but I loved it. Jamie Stegmaier.
Oh.
Tapestry.
Really?
I like all the different facets of it. It's world building, literally, and you're putting hex pieces in. And you have to make sure it matches. So you have to like really watch. It's almost like the squizzle kind of idea. If you know what a squizzle is, you know what I'm talking about, or a triazzle. So like you have that kind of squizzle or triazzle idea with the hexes, and so you have to build the world. You can dominate and take over someone else's civilization, which I loved attacking you. But it follows the idea of like building worlds. So,
and then there's the polyominoes of making your city.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And then like, but what I like is like on the edges too, you're like, you know, building certain different tracks of your city. And so you can go from being in a wooden or whatever, a grass hut to now going into space.
Yeah.
Which is what I did. And like, so for me, like, that's cool. Like you wouldn't expect like, oh, look, we're living in like, you know, huts and now I'm in space. That's cool. I made a rocket. Joke's on you. Because you have that extra whole building of the houses on the, like, there's just so many different, when you first showed it to me, I'm like, God, there's more? Like, what? But once you do like 2 or 3 rounds, it makes sense and it's just so much fun. I really liked it. So, but I had to play it like 1 or 2 more times because like I tried to choose games that we could do with like friends and it makes us happy. Like, and when we see it, it makes us smile. That one does. I just wouldn't suggest it for a noob.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So my official, sorry, do you want to say anything about Tapestry?
Oh, I was going to say, like I'm so infatuated with that game that I had Jamie on the show just so I can ask him about that game. Because I'm like, you're moving blocks. Like, and I even told him, like, it's a disservice to the game. I know this, but on paper, you're just moving blocks up tracks so you can get buildings to put on a little graph. And like, and it is one of the best games I've ever played. I don't understand why this is fun. Like, how did you know when you were making this game that it was going to work? Like, what in your brain was like saying, yes, this is cool, you know, to slide a block up a track so I can get a building and put it on a little thing here and, you know, fill columns and rows with these little 3D buildings.
There's like, just so many aspects to it that like I was overwhelmed. Like, again, I don't like setting up boards, but I really enjoyed it. So, so my official number one though.
Okay.
Dungeon Fighter.
Yes, I love Dungeon Fighter.
All
It
the
was our
bells and
gateway
whistles,
game.
too. Yeah, it was. We were at a beach house with our friends, and they had it. We played it, and I loved it. It's just, but I like dexterity games. I'm good at that, so I really enjoy it. And PJ sets it up, so
yeah. It was in one night we played that, King of Tokyo, and Terror in Maple City.
I love Terror
And it was the
Maple
best
City.
night ever.
I'm gonna take your teeth, not my teeth. Like Dungeon Fighter, though. Have you guys played Dungeon Fighter?
No.
Oh my gosh!
So, yeah, so you're working together as a group, going through
It's
a dungeon
Dungeons and
room.
Dragons, but you're like the worst characters.
Yeah, the story in like the instruction book is like the king is sick of people touting to be amazing adventurers, so he gathers up anyone who says this and sends them into an actual dungeon. and so you're going room to room in a dungeon, killing monsters, but to kill a monster, you have to bounce a die onto a cardboard target on the table.
Okay.
And so, dice being square, cube shaped, when you bounce it forward, it will veer off to the side, and it's just so fun.
Isn't
And
it
then
that game that we played? Didn't we play that with you?
No,
Did-
that was Catacombs.
Catacombs, yeah.
Okay.
And so then, like,
That's
you
the flicking
can,
one.
yeah. Then you can buy like a crossbow where you put the die on your wrist and flick it off your wrist, or you're fighting Medusa and you can't look at Medusa, so you have to close your eyes when you do it with the crossbow. And it's so
Some of them are like,
great.
blow it on. And see if it's
There's the sword of friendship where your friend holds the die and you grab their hand and like do one of the, like just have to launch it onto the table that way. It's hilarious. It is so good. And like, it's hilarious but at the same time, there's a good game underneath it,
because you're and like, you're like, no, you're terrible at that. Do not buy that. You buy this instead. And like, no, you take this and I'm going to give you my beer because the beer is going to give you this ability.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of team play, but it's just absolutely ridiculous. It's just so much fun. And even like the pieces that go together, like to stack the cards, there's like a little card holder, which I think is nice. I like when there's like extra features, because like what's the game we played that I like? Not Root, Everdell. Like, there's you build a tree. So like I like when there's those extra things. Like even in Wingspan, I like the holder,
the bird feeder.
Yeah. So like, it's just cute to have that little extra there for a dungeon fighter. But the expansions, there's different kind of dice you can throw, and there's like water elements. There's like 3 mini die that you can throw. It's ridiculous, but it's so much fun.
So good.
And I'm
Sounds
like,
good.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
I'm crazy about like dexterity. Like for Terror in Maple City, I will climb on a table to get in like the best angle. Like we have pictures of me climbing on a freaking table.
You with dexterity games, like Men at Work is another one that you're just stupidly good at.
I love it. Oh, Men at Work is so much fun.
Yeah.
Like we played a lot of Jenga and a lot of that, like, the pulling the sticks out, whatever that's called, those kids.
Kerplunk.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we played a lot of those kinds of games.
Yeah.
Pick up sticks.
I
played Jax.
I would play Terror on Maple City / Rampage more if it didn't take so long to set up.
Yeah. Setup in that is a beast.
Setup.
90 meeples you have to meticulously place on the board.
And build the buildings out of meeples and stacks of cardboard, and more meeples and more stacks of cardboard. It's like, oh.
I have him for that.
Yep.
What's your number one, David?
All right. My number one is Arkham Horror, the card game.
Yes. Where is it? There it is. I have mine down there.
Yeah, Carrie and I recently played it for the first time. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
What campaign?
the very first one that comes on the core, like revised
Night of the
set.
Zealot.
Yeah, and like it kicked our asses.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so fun, this game, once you like get into it. And like once you have enough cards that you can like really build decks that like you can take ownership of and like feel like, oh, I've created this like awesome, set of combos.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a cooperative game. You're working together, and it's like it's so hard that it really feeds into my love of like min-maxing, like, getting the perfect freaking like, all 30 of my cards to be like perfect,
Mm-hmm.
And it's so cool because as you play the campaign, you buy upgraded cards.
Yeah.
So you're like always tweaking your deck and like fixing things and improving. And yeah, it's super fun.
I've never seen a game that it tells a narrative story with the cards like that too. You
It
know?
does,
It's
yeah.
so good.
Yeah. And it's all Cthulhu stuff going on,
Yep.
which is really fun. And also the campaigns, like, they've done a really, really amazing job at making like every single scenario you play like feels different.
Yeah.
They've just got all sorts of different twists
And sequels to some of my favorite stories too.
yeah.
Like I have the base game, Return to Dunwich, Murder at the Excelsior Hotel, which I haven't. I'm excited to do that one.
that's a standalone.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
little standalone one.
Yeah.
And then I have The Edge of the Earth, which is the sequel to the story
Mountains of Madness.
Mountains of Madness. Because Mountains of Madness ends with the narrator saying, like, don't go back there. It's terrible there. Like, you will die. And the beginning of Edge of the Earth is like, yeah, so this guy told us about it. We're going to go down there.
Have you played it yet?
Not yet, no.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's really fun. Yeah.
And the Arkham Horror card game has this whole like ArkhamDB.com or whatnot, is it?
Yep.
Like this whole card database that people like share tips on how to build decks and all sorts of
Every
stuff.
single card has like 15 to like 30 different like people commenting on like the perfect way to use that card in a deck, and like all of the other like 30 cards that it could combo with, like if you did certain things, and which investigate. Yeah. So like you get a different investigator each time, and then you build your deck around that, and they're all good at like certain things, and they all have weaknesses. You also have weaknesses. So like, halfway through a campaign or a scenario, whatever, you're going to draw your card that like totally screws you. And that's like really, like, I have never played a game where it's all about like bad stuff happening, and it's just, you're just going to get screwed. And like, usually when that happens in games, it like feels bad, but like this game is all about it.
Yeah.
And like, the randomness in the game is all through negative modifiers. So like, if I'm trying to do something and I'm like have a 6 in fighting or whatever, I'm trying to fight something, then I'm going to draw a random token that's going to be like -5. So then it just makes you feel really bad about everything that happens all the time. And it just like works so well for like the like Lovecraftian
I was gonna
horror,
say,
just like everything's going wrong all the time.
I was gonna say the theme really helps with that. I think the horror theme, because you feel helpless, like, because the same company made the Lord of the Rings LCG,
Right.
and I hate it because it doesn't feel like Lord of the Rings, because everything is bad all the time, and it's much more combat heavy too than Arkham Horror, where Arkham Horror is very story driven. Yeah. This one, Lord of the Rings LCG, is very combat heavy instead, and a lot of different combat rules and things like that. But
in the Arkham Horror card game, you can spend a lot of time just slipping away from the monsters and avoiding them, and that's a very viable and
totally
necessary strategy.
Yeah, not in Lord of the Rings. You have like combat is the main feature of it.
All right, Carrie, what's your number one?
Surprise, surprise. What's my number one? Dominion.
Oh my gosh, that game.
I love that game. I love that game so much. The first time we played it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best game ever. And then now we have like every single expansion except maybe like
Plunder.
one.
Yeah, we're missing the latest one.
I love it because every game that you play is always going to be different. Because how many cards do you think they are?
Combinations?
No. Just in general. Like how many cards? Probably like 1,000, it seems
more.
Crazy, yeah.
You think it's more than 1,000?
Because the one legendary deck builder box is a little over 1,000 cards.
No, I mean, are you talking about just sheer cards, or are you talking about types of cards?
Types of cards.
Oh, types of cards. Like
okay.
there's usually between like, I don't know, 15 to 25 in a set.
How
Several hundred at least.
How many sets do you have? Yeah, a couple hundred.
Oh, yeah.
Like there should be like
there's never you're
700-800
never going to
different
get the
things.
same cards.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, you'll never get a set of 10 that's
Which
the
I
same
love.
ever.
I like that every time you play, yes, it's the same game, but it's not the same game.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of helps that I really am good at it.
Yeah, she is.
Saw that last week.
I know. Matt was like, "What's the point of me counting my points? You have how many?"
And
like, yes, I know. I'm sorry.
And it's the original deck builder.
Yes,
game.
and then that game made me realize how much I love deck builders.
Yeah.
This is the game where the first time I ever played it, I lost, and then every time after that, I win.
That's what you do in a lot of games, though. You lose the first game, and then you just figure it out, and it clicks, and
That's what
end up
happens.
killing everyone.
I just don't know how to explain how I love it. It's just, I think I like the randomness of it. The cards are awesome. Some of the artwork is better than other artworks because I think each expansion has a different artist.
No, there's tons of different artists for like
Each
they're all over the
card.
place. Yeah, just that they use more artists more in some than others, I guess.
And the like how a card can be like, you have 2 buys and you can use this amount of money and you can get more money with money and you can use this card with this card and that card with this card. Skip, do this, do that. I don't know. It's just always action packed.
You're always on your feet. Yeah,
You're always on your feet. I don't know if I'm not very good at chess. My brain does not compute at all with chess. And that's why I can't play Santorini either. It's just like not my brain. But when I'm playing Dominion, I feel like that part of my head where I'm constantly looking and I'm seeing what everybody's buying and how I'm going to 3 turns from now, I know what I'm going to do because I know what you're going to do. Part of my head works better with that game than it will ever work with Santorini or chess.
Yeah, I'm not good at Dominion.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Dominion.
No, it's crazy. Like I play Dominion, and I'm too tempted to buy a few different cards and see how the combinations work. And she just does the most ruthless, efficient thing she can, and she wins. And it's like she'll just pepper her deck with a few action cards that just synergistically work fantastic with everything else, and boom. I
will never buy more than 3 cards.
Oh.
Yeah, 3 cards,
All right,
and the rest
that's
I'm
the strategy.
always buying money. Getting more money you get,
Right.
the chances you're going to have enough money to buy your.
But you're not doing a pure big money strategy.
No, I'm not just always on money. I have a few cards where I can do 2 pies. I can do I
Depending
get
on
more
what you
money,
got,
like because there's certain cards where it's like plus 2 coin. So yeah, that's why I love that game.
Nice.
It's a great game.
All right, Tom, your number 1?
Oh, you know what this is? Twilight Imperium 4 is, I was first introduced to this through Twilight Imperium 3, which I also have. Back when I lived in Chicago, I want to say around 2007, 2008, a friend of mine and I, there was a couple who organized a big board gaming event for TI3 at the local board gaming store. They advertised it there and they had it back at their house a couple of consecutive weekends in a row. And it was 2 full 8-player games in a row. The first weekend was the learning game, and then the second weekend was the official full game. It was so amazing, even though it took all day to play. Also probably helped that in the official game I won. Of course. with the Jolnar. Tech heavy. And then when TI4 came out, I mean, I bought all the expansions for TI3, but I think I only got our own copy to the table once ever. That was with Little John. And
who was how old at the time?
I forget.
It was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, so I want to
so he's
9?
12. Yeah, a 9-year-old kicked our butts.
Oh, yeah. No, and at the last minute, he uses a card that put us in a no-win situation that neither of us, no matter what we did, could win. And we were like, what did you just do to us? And then he just...
And we were like, we're so proud of you.
And TI4 really takes everything in TI3 and just like makes it so much nicer, I want to say. It is the game that I will never turn down. I will always say if somebody's up for it, I will play. I will gladly set aside a day anytime to play it. It's just so... It's so epic. Like, you really feel like you are running a space empire and you're trying to conquer the galaxy. Like,
I would love to play sometime.
Yeah, no.
Have you never played it?
No, I've never played it.
I haven't either.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm happy.
No surprise.
I mean, it doesn't sound like your kind of game.
No.
Yeah.
It's definitely all day, and it's definitely like, we need to take an hour break, let's have lunch, you know? Like,
I
need to use the bathroom,
Just
let's
with
take
8
10
players.
minutes.
With 8 players, that's like...
Yeah, because
the whole day.
each turn can be
Yeah.
It's not like quick turns. It's not like, okay,
But you're never bored though, because you're always watching the board and trying to figure out your strategy while other people are doing it and watching what they're doing. And so it's never like you're just sitting around not knowing what to do. Like you're really calculating.
No, I will be sitting around not knowing what I'm supposed to do.
Well, from what I hear, like it's a pretty easy game once you start playing.
Right, that's why
It's
having
just-
that one day of just learning the game and figuring it out
and it's
is
like
important.
I'm happy to like teach the game and not play, like, and just be like the arbitrator or whatever, and just show like the rules and whatnot, because I want to get other people into it. It's so much fun.
I told you last week, but for our listeners, there's a really cool documentary that Shut Up and Sit Down made. It's like a half hour long or so, but like of the making of Twilight Imperium 4. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, there's one expansion that's come out for it so far. Well, the original game box for TI4 came with all the races that came in all the expansions for TI3 already in there. And then they added more in the single expansion that's come out. And there's also a couple of like official print and play expansions for it that I also ended up getting.
Oh, cool.
That like tweak some of the rules and fix some of the like balance issues. But yeah, no, I'm always up for that. Just let me know.
Right, that was top 5 games of why we love gaming. They remind us why we come to the table all the time. This was fun. I really enjoyed this.
I got one more honorable mention. It's Blockus.
Yes! Blockus is so good.
Blockus Duo is fun too.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I was going to play that
Oh
today
my
with
God.
John
You
at
got to play.
school.
You would like it, and your son would love Blockus. I think.
Blockus
They're at
is
my-
so
Yeah. It's
I have Blockus Duo in the car right now because I accidentally
Really?
brought my bag of games home.
There we go.
it's competitive 4-person Tetris.
Oh,
Yes.
he would love that.
Yeah.
He'd kick your tushkas.
We were going to play it together, but then he was busy talking to friends, which is good.
Oh.
So
Yeah, I have a version, I forget what it's called, but the board is a hex shape, and instead of little square pieces, they're triangular.
Oh.
And the rest of the rules are the same. It's just, but yeah, it's a really
I could
such a good
see
game.
very much so John loving that game. And while he's playing it, he'll tell you all about the history of the real Tetris and why it was made and who made it and why it was made and this. And did you know this and that and that and that? And that did you know?
how I don't,
like-
but I
yeah,
will.
it's
So
like
I always
you're-
tell him.
It's like you're Tetrising, but you're like
Weaving
Tetrising
through
into
people.
other people's spaces, and you're trying to like cordon off like your territory, so like you can put your, but
Feels
then other
kinda
people
like
can kind of
Minesweeper
like
too, a little
yeah,
bit.
your pieces can
Sneak
only
in
touch by corners. And you're just trying to like put as many of your tiles down while blocking other people from spreading out too. And it's so cool.
it's great.
Yeah.
I'll show you tomorrow.
Good honorable
I-
mention.
My New Yorker came through.
All right.
All right.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. Hit us up at gamesoverboard@gmail.com if you want to email us, or visit us at gamesoverboard.com. Find us on Facebook, Instagram. Links to those and our YouTube page are on our website.
And currently on our Facebook page, we have a giveaway going on.
Yep.
for
Instagram too. So
for-
you can
this and for Wellhouse Exorcism. It's
Yep.
combined.
you will win a t-shirt, a copy of Boop.
Ooh.
Yeah, the Halloween version. And
Lots of other goodies
a whole
you can
bunch
get
of other
from
little merch.
Wellhouse.
Yeah, take a look at the pictures on either Instagram or Facebook if you want to get in on that.
That's it. Thank you guys for being here.
Yes.
Hi.
Thank you.